Welcome to the Therapist Book Club, where two therapists dive into their favorite books and the powerful mental health themes they uncover.
Whether you're here for literary inspiration, therapeutic tools, or just some lighthearted conversation, you've found the right place.
So get cozy and let's dive into the pages together.
All right, welcome back. We're here to talk about a few more children's books that are geared towards self-esteem and loving yourself, and all that our bodies offer us and all that we're born with. And so why don't you start us off? What did you bring today?
Yeah, so I brought this book. I bought this for my daughter originally. And actually now pretty much every room in my therapy clinic has this book, to be fair. I love this book. It's all about this character, the flamingo,
Hmm.
feeling like they're different because they have the long legs, long neck. They're just not like the other birds.
Mhm.
And Flamingo goes through Flo, the flamingo, goes through a journey of thinking these things are problems until she meets um like a giraffe that says long necks are wonderful
Oh,
and her pink feathers feel too bright until she meets all these animals with bright colors.
uh,
um she goes on to like her feet being too big, but rhinoceros thinks that big stompy feet are terrific.
cute.
And their feet are different.
Uh-huh.
And she says, but thanks to her friends, Flo thought she was very lucky to be
Hmm.
different.
Cute.
I love this because my daughter has gotten, I bought it originally because she'd gotten really fixated on being different.
Right.
And she's one of like two children in her whole school that wear hearing aids.
Mhm.
And although no one teases her, luckily, she's been so lucky that, no one teases.
Mhm.
People ask lots of questions, and kids want to know about it and they want to know why. And you know what? Her little brain wants to understand why too.
Yeah. Mhm.
Sometimes for kiddos, when their brain is trying to figure that out, they start thinking that different must be bad, right? Because being like everybody else seems so much easier. Kind of like when we talked about Untamed.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's easier to stay in the box and be just like everyone else, and it can feel harder to be outside of the box. Um, when I read this with our clients here, we're discussing sometimes not even that like different is superpowers or different is makes you even better.
Right.
What we're just talking about is like everybody is different in some way.
Correct. Yeah.
Like I was thinking about, I actually looked up the word, this off topic, but interesting still. I was looking up the word neurodiversity and what the origins of it was, and it was
Uh-huh.
actually coined by an Australian sociologist. And
Mhm.
it was, she used that term to describe the differences between every single brain of humans,
Uh-huh.
not just the different ones.
Uh-huh.
And we have started to use neurodiversity, I think, to describe the different ones,
Right.
but that's actually neurodivergence versus neurodiversity. But the idea is our brains are all different
They
in
are all
different
different.
ways, and that's just what it means to make up humans. And that's what I loved about this book is it's more about we are all different, and that's just what it means to be an animal
Mhm.
or human.
Yeah.
But in this book, all the animals are different. And you know what? There's nothing good or bad about being different. It just we're all different, and that's what what it means to be human.
And I love that the flamingo finds other people, other animals that are different like her. And she realizes like everybody is different in their own in their own unique way.
Yeah. I like that even more subtle than that is she finds people who have similar differences
Uh-huh.
and they're different, like
Yeah.
different. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
just lost
Yeah.
in these
Her
words.
big stomping feet are not the same as Rhino's big stomping feet, but they're both big
Right.
stomping feet.
And Rhino really loved his big stompy feet. And
Mhm.
so it helped
Help her love.
Flamingo
Mhm.
have the freedom to like, oh, maybe big stumpy feet aren't that
Yeah.
bad. And
Yeah.
I was thinking, I've thought a lot about like on social media, what are we putting out there, and like I think it's important to share some of these things about ourselves, right? And but what I think is so important is that we share in a way that's like And here's what like we share a lot about my daughter's hearing, and her hearing is going to be different than other kids that have different hearing stuff, right? And but here's what our family does when we're talking about it, and or this is like how my daughter feels when she's talking about it, or um, but I think it's so important that like we're sharing to give some solution rather than um just freaking everybody out about
Yeah.
when you get hearing aids and what's hard about hearing aids. But it's like it is interesting when my daughter finds other people with hearing aids, whether they're adults or children.
Mhm.
They do all have like a camaraderie of joining the club together,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
And they all are different in why they have hearing aids or the extent to which they need hearing aids, but they all have that kind of commonality.
Yes, for sure.
We've been talking about differences a lot in our family too lately. With the sun coming out more, my kids have been outside nonstop, and we have a rainbow of skin colors in my family.
Mhm.
And even amongst my kids, we all have different skin colors. Me, I'm the lightest one of the bunch, and then my kids all are progressively darker, and then my husband is the darkest. But we talk about differences in skin color, and it's isn't it so cool? And we'll hold all our arms up to and compare the colors, and we'll put them in order from lightest to darkest. And
Yeah.
the kids aren't like, it's so fun to see them like, oh, that's so cool that it's so different. And we're all part of the same family still. And so being able to
Mhm.
talk about like, we are different and we're all together still, and we can all be together. So
Yes.
we've been talking about that in our
Let's
family a lot.
normalize differences.
Ah, it would be so boring if we were all the same.
Yeah. I mean, it just doesn't work like that, genetics doesn't work like that. And we get I think kids get really fixated on how they're different or the same and I don't know, just every human is a little different, just like every animal, like think about all the dogs out there, like none of them we have 2 dogs that are the breed and they don't look the same.
Mhm. Yeah. We
Just
even, so our boys have long hair, like long down, like down their back long. And we talk about differences in like boys and girls don't have to have long hair or short hair. And it's just someone's preference for how they keep their hair. And so we talk about differences that way, difference in preference, difference in like how you want to style your hair and all those things. And none of it's good or bad. It's just what you like.
so I think it's easy to grab this book for somebody like you and me that you're talking about skin color, I'm talking about disability.
Mhm.
So why would a parent that maybe they have a white kid in Utah who has blonde hair, blue eyes, and is neurotypical, like why do they need this book?
Because their kid is going to be different than somebody else in some way.
Mm.
And if they can recognize that someone else who's different from them is good also, um, I mean, they're going to be kinder and more gentle towards people who are different in real life.
I mean, yeah, the reality is normalizing difference takes
Mhm.
all of us.
Yep.
Understanding that neurodiversity just means, like the
A
differences
wide
in the
range.
human brain takes
Mhm.
all of us. All
Yeah.
of us have to recognize that, right? Not just the different ones.
Yep. And I
So,
guarantee that white kid who is neurotypical with seemingly fits into the crowd is going to have something. Maybe deep down, he really likes to play Mario Kart, and all of his friends like to play Minecraft. And
mhm.
he's going to feel different because he likes a game that's different than what his friends like. So even if on the surface he looks like he is the same as everybody, there will be some time at some point that he is different. And if he can learn that early, deep down, that even if it's different, it's okay. It's good.
Yeah.
That's great.
So what did you bring?
Okay. I brought this book is called The Best Part of Me. And this is really, I think is really sweet because it takes you through, it says children talk about their bodies in pictures and words. So it's kids they've taken a picture of some part of the kid's body and they've written a narrative of some kind about what they love about that part of their body. So this one, this boy loves his eyes and he talks about how they're brown and black and big and round. This girl likes her hands and she writes about why she likes her hands. She writes with her right hand, but if she writes with her left, it looks sloppy. So like just like in kids' words. And
Yeah.
I love that it's in their handwriting, which is so sweet.
Yes, I love it.
And then this one likes her knees. It's a knee poem, her back. So it takes you through different body parts and what the child loves about themselves. And this one is really fun to use in therapy sessions to help kids maybe talk about the different body parts that they have and what they like and what they maybe don't like as much, and have them narrate and talk about those things. They could do their own little poem or their own little story about their body part. And
That would be so good for kids with disability too, because
yeah.
it's easy to get fixated on good and bad.
Mhm.
And those snippets that the kids talk about, they're not talking about things that work or don't work, or they're giving reasons that some are kind of silly, you
Mhm.
know, some are like not silly necessarily, but writing with her right hand means her
Yeah.
handwriting is neat versus sloppy, you know, and
This one, I need my arms to pick up my little brothers and throw them on the bed, but when they get up and they try to kick me in my head when I'm sleeping in the bed, but they can't as long as I have my arms over my head.
so it has nothing to do with the ability.
No.
I like arms because they work, right?
Yes.
And to me,
You
I'm
could take a kid all the way through their whole body and like, tell me about your eyes and
like,
have them tell you about their eyes. Tell me about your shoulders. What do your shoulders do? How do they help you? And have them get some like
yeah,
body sense and body awareness about
yep.
the different parts of their body.
So if kids have like medical disability, they'll get really fixated on this one part of themselves. And I
Mhm.
know my daughter, we've had to talk to like class, like her teacher before that, like kids are asking a million questions about hearing aids and whatever, and they're just trying to understand. They're not being mean, but it can
Right.
be pretty overwhelming to just
Yeah.
always be answering questions about your ears and the same
There's no
questions all the
convenient.
time.
Yeah. Hmm.
And so it's so nice, like, so first of all, that can teach that you're made up of more than just that one thing that everybody wants to know about. Secondly, I was thinking about too, if you've had a child with any, when you're talking about good touch, bad touch, I was just thinking it can be a good
Hmm.
one too, because sometimes we have to just kind of normalize the body,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah.
it's just our body.
Hmm.
And there's a whole bunch of ways where I think I like that it's playful, it's lighthearted. The kids are writing some of that. It can,
Hmm.
if you're a therapist or a parent listening to this, you could grab that book for so many different reasons.
Hmm.
A great activity I think would be then having, you know, if I have my little Jilly, I would be asking her, write what you like about your ears.
Yeah.
That's kind of the forced, you know, processing, but, um, I might also ask her, like, what's something that feels, you know, what's part of your body that you like? And can
Yeah.
you write about that?
I
What
mean, if
what
everybody's
you
always talking about her hearing and her ears, I would go towards, I would be even be like frank with her and be like, man, I bet sometimes you're annoyed with people always talking about your ears. Tell me
Mhm,
about your other body parts. Tell me about your elbows. Are they wrinkly? Is the skin stretchy? And like,
mhm.
let her focus on something else other than her ears, and have her feel like confident to say, yeah, I got other things going on than just my ears.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't know what they don't know about her is that her arms and her legs are super strong, and she can do, 3 back hip circles in a row.
Mhm.
Nobody knows that because 'cause they're really fixated on her ears, right? And so I love that. Actually, that, just just a side note, one form of advocacy is called photo voice. It's telling
Mm.
a story through picture,
Mhm.
and, sometimes it can be a picture, like, a picture story from start to finish, but that book, whether they know it or not, fits in as an example of photo voice.
Yeah.
That these children have had pictures or taken pictures or chosen pictures that tell a story, and they've
Mhm.
included pieces of that. But even just looking at the picture, if it was like pieces of me,
Mhm.
and it said something about child's, I would read through and say, the way that the pictures are taken, you know, like the boy who's black and we see his eyes. We're not fixated on his skin color. We just see his beautiful brown eyes.
Even this whole book is black and white.
Yep. Which I think is so telling, right? Like it's and that's like a part of photo voice. This is like such a great example of photo voice.
The thing I love the most is like the kid's voice in this, and like,
Yes, the talking the way that which is actually kind of a skill for a therapist to learn too, don't you think? Like being able to
yeah,
talk in kid talk
yes, yes.
and not like over their heads.
This one I'm laughing about. Sometimes I can move my teeth. Sometimes my grandma can move her teeth too. Did you know baby teeth are smoother than permanent teeth? I can bite and eat with my teeth. I have sharp teeth. So does a shark and my cousin Laura.
Laura, what are you
Laura
doing to this kid? That kid needs therapy for his cousin Laura.
and the sharks.
If that's his trauma.
And it's the cutest picture. Look at him.
Oh my goodness. I love that.
Yeah.
These are great books for any therapist that is working with kids who might feel different, or if you have a kid who might be talking about being different, you want to normalize difference. This is our movement we're starting today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Normalize difference.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining in, everybody. We'll see you guys next time.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on the Therapist Book Club. We hope today's conversation inspired you to explore new stories and perspectives.
Don't forget to follow us for more episodes, share your favorite books with us, and join the conversation on how books and mental health connect on our social media channels.
Until next time, keep reading, keep growing, and remember, your story matters.